Today we're going to be talking about consumer protection. This is one of the questions that we got from one of you guys, our rundowners. And so basically what we're going to be touching on is what are the laws and regulations that protect you as a consumer in Kenya.
We've spoken about this on the channel before, so we know. All laws stem from where, Ndanu?
The Constitution.
The Constitution. So if there's a law in Kenya, your first point of contact is to start looking for it in the Constitution of Kenya 2010. So pre-2010, there was no solid law that was tied to consumer protection. There was an act of parliament here, a regulation there, but it wasn't all consolidated. But when the Constitution of Kenya 2010 was enacted, Section 46 of the Constitution of Kenya speaks about consumer rights.
This is a very big problem in Kenya. We have counterfeit diapers, counterfeit
sanitary towels.
Yes, I'm like, first of all, you people who are counterfeiting diapers
and sanitary towels,
by the way, Mungu anawaona. Not that the ones who are counterfeiting alcohol are the good ones,
but you don't make a parent deal with a rush because you're getting for money.
Imagine, it's not nice.
The Consumer Protection Act is divided into 11 parts. So there's 10 core parts, and the 11th part is the general penalty.
So get ready.
Get ready.
Yes, to take your notebooks, and it's going to be an interesting episode. Hi guys, welcome to the rundown.
My name is Mihala Barasa.
And I'm Danun Yuko.
And we have really missed you guys. Mmekuaje? Tell us how you've been in the comment section. For the 40 to 50 of you who subscribed when you are away, thank you very much. We are so glad you could find and interact with our channel, aren't we?
Yes, we are.
I know you guys have been wondering what we've been up to. I want to say we've been cooking, but we haven't. We just started recooking. Yeah. So what are we discussing today?
Today we're going to be talking about consumer protection. This is one of the questions that we got from one of you guys, our rundowners. And so basically what we're going to be touching on is what are the laws and regulations that protect you as a consumer in Kenya. And the most interesting thing is a lot of times people think that consumer protection is just about goods, but it also includes services. Yes. And as you can see, our resident advocate of the High Court of Kenya,
thank you very much,
has come with our Bible.
The channel Bible.
The Constitution of Kenya. So get ready.
Get ready.
Yes. To take your notebooks, and it's going to be an interesting episode. Thank you.
Do Gen Zs use notebooks?
Okay, yeah.
Steph is in the background nodding.
Yeah,
she's like, they're using notebooks. Like I watch I call him my son, reading his notes on his phone, and I'm like, utapita your exam kweli anyway.
Judgy much?
Judgy.
They have their own way of doing things. But I see you with them with notebooks in the office.
Interesting.
Yeah. All right. So to start us off, Mihala, please tell us what are the laws and regulations that govern consumer protection in Kenya?
Good. We've spoken about this on the channel before, so we know. All laws stem from where, Ndanu?
The Constitution.
Of Kenya. So if there's a law in Kenya, your first point of contact is to start looking for it in the Constitution of Kenya 2010. So pre-2010, there was no solid law that was tied to consumer protection. There was an act of parliament here, a regulation there, but it wasn't all consolidated. But when the Constitution of Kenya 2010 was enacted, Section 46 of the Constitution of Kenya speaks about consumer rights. So I'll just read for you the first part. Article 46.1 reads, consumers have the right to goods and services of reasonable quality. Number 2, to information necessary for them to gain full benefit from goods and services. So you not only have the right to reasonable and good quality services, you have the right to information about those goods and services that allow you to make a proper choice. Number 3, you have the right to the protection of your health, safety, and economic interests when you're purchasing goods or using a service. Number 4, you have a right to compensation or loss for injury and defects that arise out of the use of those goods. So if you pick a good or you buy a good or you use a service and you incur an injury and you can prove that you indeed used the service or bought the good, you are entitled to compensation. Of course, this is subject to a court process.
Yes.
And then Article 46, Part 2 says Parliament has the duty to enact legislation or to bring out laws that deal with consumer protection. And then, as Ndanu said, the Consumer Protection Act affects both goods and services. And that's what Article 46.3 is about. It says this law does not only apply to goods, but it also applies to services. So once you've established that this law is emanating from the Constitution, then Parliament is given the mandate to enact laws or to legislate laws that affect consumer protection. Then you ask yourself, okay, I've gotten it in the Constitution. Which act of Parliament then deals with consumer protection? And for me, there's 2. So there's the Consumer Protection Act and there's the Competition Act. The Competition Act is something that we'll deal with in another episode. But let me say the secondary law or the second largest law in Kenya that deals with consumer protection is the Consumer Protection Act. It's been, how can I put it? It's been repealed several times, with the latest repeal being 2019. So most people call it the Consumer Protection Act of 2019.
Thank you for that, Mihala. As speaking of the Consumer Protection Act, probably you can tell us some of the consumer rights that are enshrined in that act.
Okay, so first of all, the Consumer Protection Act is divided into 11 parts. So there's 10 core parts, and the 11th part is the general penalty. We all know what the general penalty is, right? Do you know what the general penalty is?
Under the Consumer Protection Act?
No, under any act.
No. There's a general penalty under any act.
So most acts of Parliament will always say, if you violate any section of this act, then you'll have this fine or this imprisonment.
Oh, that's what you mean. So I thought that like there's a general penalty, like standard, if you violate any act. No. Or okay, yes. So there's normally that section. Yes.
So that section so it's 10 parts, and then the 11th part is the general penalty.
Yes.
So each of those 11 parts speaks about different consumer rights.
Yes.
And part 2 is what now speaks about our main consumer rights that we deal with in Kenya. The first of them is persons are allowed to bring class acts or class proceedings in case they face an injury or a loss relating to goods.
Yeah.
And then there's a part that talks about...
Probably before you go to the next part, maybe you can explain to our listeners or the people watching this on YouTube, what is a class act?
Oh, okay. So a class act is court proceedings that involve a big group of people.
Yeah.
So think about it as a class 4 class. Let me just put it that way. Say, for example, all of us in class 4 have been punished by a teacher and the teacher is unfair. And I, as the prefect, go out and say, Teacher Ndanu punished us and it was unfair. And I say that on behalf of the class, and maybe all of us in that class get a sorry.
Yes.
So when we are now adults, all of us probably are using soap X, and all of us get rashes. Yeah. If all of us go to a doctor and we get an opinion that says all of us got rashes from using this particular soap, and maybe we have our receipts that we bought that soap, and when we bought that soap, I, as Mihala, can decide to say, all of you bring your proof, and then I am going to institute a suit against the company that makes soap X, so that all of us can get compensation. So instead of all of us filing the case, I can file the case on their behalf.
And then everyone else joins in the case.
Yeah, so everyone else will get a compensation from the case. So sometimes what happens is, before a class act, there's something called a test suit. So a test suit is someone that offers themselves as the sacrificial lamb to go to court and see whether their case will succeed. So if the test case succeeds, then the class act is put in, and then all of us benefit from it. Most class acts I think I have seen are in the employment and labor relations sector, where like a mass of employees are laid off, and they do like a class act.
Yes. If you were a fan of How to Get Away with Murder, Annalise, she was called
Annalise Keating.
Annalise Keating, yes, did a class action suit. Yeah. So Yes, for layman like me, that is the easiest way to explain it. So thank you, Mihala, for that. So you can go to the next, right?
Okay. So the other right is in relation to the quality of goods and services.
Yeah.
I like this right because it kind of addresses a two-in-one when you look at it. I am entitled to goods of, they call it merchantable quality, but that's just like goods that can be used by a reasonable person without harm coming to them.
Yes.
And then there's the part that says, if you're selling me, if I've sampled a good and I want to buy it, you don't sell me something different from what I sampled or what I asked for. So if I come to your shop and I get, let's say, a sample of an oil,
Yeah.
and I like it, if I say I want 10 liters of that oil, the Consumer Protection Act actually says that I am entitled to the same quality of the oil, like the one that I tested at 10 ml, as long as I represented to you before that this is the exact same thing that I
want.
wanted to buy from you.
Uh-huh. That makes a lot of sense.
Yes.
Yes.
And then there's another right on estimates, price estimates. So if you've presented to the public, or if we've gotten into a contract and I've said this good will be priced between 10 and 12 shillings, I can't come to you and now say it's 15 shillings.
Yeah.
It actually says you can price it at 10, you can price it at 12, but I cannot go above the 12 shillings that I promised, because that fundamentally goes into breach of the consideration term of the contract.
Is that why people tell us DM for prices? So that if we've increased the price.
I think so.
Yes.
I think
because
so.
probably if in March I was selling this microphone at 10 Gs, and now in probably in September, I want to sell it for 14 Gs. I don't want people to have evidence that in March I was selling it for 10K. But really, if my price estimates have changed, shouldn't the law be able to protect me? Because probably things have changed. So in March, probably the cost of production was lower. And now in September, the cost of production has gone up.
But I think it's upon you as the seller to reasonably inform me that there are going to be price changes, especially if it's on a public platform.
Yes.
So the way I view some of the rights in the Consumer Protection Act, it's if I had, say we've gotten into a contract and I've told you I'll sell you these microphones for 12 shillings. And then I've said deliveries in 6 months.
Yeah.
Then 6 months down the line, you're telling me it's 15 shillings. Doesn't sound reasonable.
Yeah, it
yes.
doesn't sound reasonable.
But I think if it's goods and quality, goods and services that are maybe every day and on the shelves, and let's say like the way you're saying on social media, I am actually allowed to tell you, look, my prices are going up from X to Y. As long as there's a reasonable raise, then you'd be able to say, yeah.
And I get that's why sometimes some companies get into futures contracts, because we already get into a contract. I get into a contract with Mihala and tell her, Mihala, you're going to be supplying, you'll supply for me water for the next 1 year at this price. And sometimes those contracts can't be changed. Yes. If we agreed this is the price, you'll supply for that price up to the end of that contract. Yes. Yeah. Okay. So any other right that you'd like to tell us about?
I have a lot more, but I usually like the one on ambiguities. So if you've gotten into a supply contract, and there's an ambiguous clause in the contract, that clause will always be interpreted in favor of the buyer.
Yeah.
So I think that is something that our suppliers and our sellers need to understand.
Okay.
More often than not, the contract will be interpreted in favor of the buyer of the product.
I think this is a nice segue, maybe just to inform the rundowners that Mihala said that while we were away, we were in the kitchen for a bit. And one of the platforms that we would like to have on the rundown is a platform for entrepreneurs and business owners to help you protect your businesses and grow your businesses. Okay? So those are our main objectives protecting your business
And
and growing your business. So as a rundowner who owns a business, what is the one thing that today you're learning? Make sure that your contracts are not ambiguous. Okay. If you're not sure about your contracts, please seek legal
advice.
Yes.
Actually, as you talk about small business owners or small entrepreneurs, I think that one of the rights that I would want to address that affects influencers is unsolicited goods and services. There's a consumer right around unsolicited goods and services, and this mostly affects influencers being sent PR packages.
Yeah.
Now, businesses, I'm not saying it's bad to send an influencer PR package. I think you should be able to do that. But I think one of the things that you need to understand is if you decide that you're sending someone a PR package or you send them goods that they didn't ask for, the Consumer Protection Act actually gives them the protection and says that you cannot compel them to use that product. So if you send me a product, I am not entitled or compelled to use it. I don't have an obligation to give you a review of it. So if you send a PR package to an influencer and they don't post you, that's not the influencer's problem. That sounds like a you problem. You should get a contract. And I know it sounds a little harsh because I've seen there are some times that you'll see on social media people have complained, I sent person X a PR package, I see them wearing the clothes or I see them using the product, but they never tag me. So if you decide to send unsolicited goods or give an unsolicited service to an influencer, I think it's best that you have a conversation with them.
Because
and
if
tell them
Mihala
your expectations.
gives me a gift, like just randomly sends me lunch to the office, do I need to post like and tag and say, hey, thanks Mihala for the lunch, if I don't want to?
If you don't want to, you shouldn't.
That's
but if I send you lunch, you must post.
Oh my God.
I kid.
But I get what you're saying. So probably, I know for small businesses, probably the issue would be getting a contract every time they're sending a PR package. So I think one of the ways that they can remedy that situation is just send the person a DM, seek consent, ask the person, hi, I sell 1, 2, 3 products. I'd like to send you a PR package. Please select like what product
you
would want, and please post.
Let me
give
know
us
what
one
you
post.
think. Yeah, or let me know what you think.
Let me know what you think about
Give
it.
me a review of the product.
Exactly.
Because if you genuinely do believe in your product, I
Yeah.
think you'll almost always get a good review.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. Because you can be sending me skincare products, and those are not the products I use. You get, yeah. So you also sometimes need to just talk to the person before you start sending them the PR packages. Yeah. So I think before we move on to the next question or the next segment of our podcast today, just to run through quickly some of the rights that consumers have under the Kenyan law. It's the right to quality goods and services. So as Mihala had mentioned earlier, if you went and tested 10 ml of an oil that you wanted to buy and you request for 10 liters of that same oil, the oil needs to be the same quality that you had tested at 10 ml. If they shortchange you, then you have the right to go and seek redress. Then the other right that we haven't also mentioned is about information. You have the right to accurate information about the product or service that you're getting. This a lot of times affects financial products. I know people with loans,
Insurance
products. Sometimes that's one of the areas that a lot of people have had complaints. There was a time central bank had mandated banks to make sure that the terms and conditions for taking loans, for taking any financial product, should be clear, and every consumer should be able to understand.
Read and understand.
Yes, that this is what I am signing up for. Because you would find I've signed up, maybe I've taken a loan and I didn't know that the interest rate keeps changing, and the relationship manager didn't tell me, no one told me. So it's 2 years down the line, CBK has changed its base lending rate, and now my bank has changed the interest rate on my loan. And I'm wondering, see, I used to pay 50,000. Why am I now paying 70,000? You know, yeah. So those are some of the things that when you're selling a product or service to someone, you need to make sure that they understand what they're purchasing.
Actually, there's a case. I don't want to mention them, but there's a case of a famous bottler, who sells soft drinks, that someone sued them because they did not have nutritional information on the soft drink.
Yeah.
And the case actually succeeded because the court said, look, you are actually supposed to put nutritional information on the bottle to make the client or the consumer be able to understand what they're buying.
Yes.
Yeah.
Actually, I think even right now, when you look at a lot of products that you buy from the supermarket, any consumables, they normally have
Nutritional information.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Probably, I think Mihala had already talked about you have a right to seek redress. So seeking redress is like compensation. Yes. So there, we'll talk about it when we get to the regulators that handle consumer protection in Kenya. Okay. So Mihala, for our next segment of this podcast, would like to talk about some examples of unfair trade practices which bring about the violation of consumer protection rights.
Good. So this one is going to be, I give one, she gives one.
Okay.
Because she's the one that's brought the topic up, hasn't she?
I said it's one of you guys who asked.
So the first unfair practice that is prohibited, or that is, can I say illegalized? Is illegalized a word? No. That is illegal.
Yes.
Under the Consumer Protection Act is misrepresenting the goods that you're selling or services that you're offering to the public.
Yeah.
So if, like we said, if I say I want 10 ml of pure refined olive oil, and I come, you give me the 10 ml and I look at it and I say, this is good. When I ask for 10 liters, you can't give me a mix of olive oil and sunflower.
Yes.
That is a misrepresentation of the goods that you're selling to the market. Another example of it is, if I say I want to buy a comprehensive, say, health insurance cover, and then you sell me this, you tell me, if you pay 2K, you'll get all these things. And then when I come to actually purchase the service, I find that 3/4 of the things under a comprehensive insurance coverage are not on the cover.
Yeah.
That is also misrepresentation of a good or a service.
Okay. That's actually a very good point, because you find there are many times consumers have purchased a product thinking it's like this, and then you find the product is different, probably because of how the manufacturer or the distributor has presented it to the public. And just following what you talked about, then we can talk about misleading advertisement. Yeah. So as a person that is distributing a product or a service, you should not falsely advertise that product. So for example, if you're advertising, let's say, a drink, you shouldn't tell people, this drink is going to give you biceps in 2 weeks. And then I'll go and drink it, and then I won't have biceps like Mihala in 2 weeks. And then I'll take you to court, because I wanted to look like Mihala in 2 weeks. Yes, Mihala has biceps, by the way.
Do I?
Check out her IG. On this channel, she's very
modest.
So yeah, here it's corporate manenos. On IG, fitness content.
Modesty is a virtue, Ndanu. Modesty is a virtue.
Yeah. So as anyone who is distributing or selling any products or services, you need to ensure that you do not have any misleading or false advertising, because that's one of the areas in which consumers will easily take you to court, and that case will be it would be like a very quick win if Mihala is the opposing counsel.
It will be born on arrival.
Yeah. It will be born
Born on arrival.
She'll be like, hey, that case lands on her desk and she's like, wow,
Easy
you
money.
said which company? Yeah. This one, I'll not be taking any fees. I'll charge you a percentage of the
of the
of the compensation
of the damages.
of us. So, as business owners, you need to be very careful as you're advertising products. Yeah.
There's the other unfair practice is telling your consumers that your product has a specific price advantage that it probably does not. I think it's one of those, the way I perceive it, I might get it wrong, but the way I perceive it is like you say this product was 75 shillings, now it's 72, but probably that product has never been in the market or it's never been 75 shillings before. So a perceived or a way to create an unfair or a false price advantage is also an unfair practice.
Okay. That's actually very interesting. So if probably I'm selling to Marvin something at 1,000 bob because Marvin is my friend and Mihala is not my friend. So I sell it to her at 2,000. So does that constitute, would that then be an unfair practice?
I think it would. I think it would. And I think it would be both an unfair practice and extortion.
Yes.
It would be a little bit of extortion.
Because even when it comes to discounts, if I come to investigate a case, I'd probably look at like what percentages of discounts do you give?
Yes.
So if it's a bulk buyer, probably 5%, some reasonable type of discount. Yeah. And then we shouldn't also overcharge somebody because you've walked in and I'm thinking, hey, Mihala looks like money.
Yes.
So I'm going to charge you 10% more than I charge other clients.
I think that can also be classified under a discriminatory practice. Like for a certain class of people, you sell them products at this much. And it's exorbitantly priced as opposed to a different class. I know there are some goods that are tiered. So you can, like insurance products are tiered. For you can get this for this amount of money, but they don't say because you are of this class of life, you cannot buy this. So like I walk into your shop and you are selling the same shoes and you decide now this cost 20K for me. And this one now will cost 2K for the other person. The only challenge with that area, I think, is because it's a bit unregulated-ish. So we cannot in good conscience say like all those cases will be quote unquote arrested or investigated, but it is an unfair practice. I saw a conversation online I think I sent it to you, where the lady was saying that someone told her she should price her products cheaper because she's not an influencer, and the influencer should price their products higher. And I saw some of the comments.
Kenyans, you're unhinged.
I think my favorite comment there was a lady who said, why doesn't she go then and buy those products from the influencer?
Yes.
Like, why are you coming to my shop?
Exactly.
If you think I need to if you think you can't buy at the same price from my shop, go buy from the influencer.
Yeah.
Which I thought was like,
that's actually the truth. If you don't like my face, you don't have to come to my shop.
True.
Yeah. Go and buy from Mihala's if you like her face.
Thanks.
Yeah, it's fine. All right. Another unfair practice would be selling of expired goods.
Ding ding! Munajiona. You know yourselves.
Oh, yes. So supermarkets, retailers, you need to keep checking the expiry dates on your products. So if the Kenya Bureau of Statistics was to come for an inspection, and then they find...
Take a step back. The Kenya Bureau?
Not Bureau of Statistics, of Standards.
Good.
Sorry. Yes. Sorry, I am...
What were maths? What were maths are a problem.
Yes, the Kenya Bureau of Standards. If they were to walk into your shop and they find that you're selling expired products, then you'd be liable for a fine. Yes. So you need to be careful and make sure that you're not selling any expired products, and don't be those guys who go and try
Erase,
erasing
replace. You know yourselves.
Yeah.
Do you know one of my
Don't be like
favorites?
that.
One of my favorite stores is Healthy You. Because when their goods are almost expiring, they'll give you like this massive discounts.
Yeah.
And more often than not, when you get there, most of the attendants will tell you the shelf life of this product is like in the next 2 or 3 months. Like, I'm not advertising Healthy You, I just like the store.
Okay.
I like the Yaya one especially. They always say like, yes, the goods that are on sale, their expiry is like in the next few weeks or in the next few months.
Yes. Which is actually good.
Yeah.
Yes. And that is what we talked about when we were talking about consumer rights, accurate information. Yes. They made sure they've informed you as you pick this product, please know that it has a shorter shelf life. Yeah, which is good. Okay.
Another unfair practice, and this would be my last one. Another unfair practice that is common and is actually recognized as an unfair practice under the law is telling a consumer that a good will be available or delivered at a specific time, knowing too well that that product will not be ready at that time. Yes, there's the small one of I'm telling you I'll deliver your shoes at 2 p.m. and then I deliver 2 days later. There's also the other...
If you're delivering 2 days later, just leave it. It's
yeah,
fine.
but there's the other one of I say something like iron sheets. You're buying iron sheets to roof your house. I tell you in the next 2 weeks, your iron sheets will be ready. It's now 4 weeks down the line. Your iron sheets are not ready, and I keep managing you and sending you to customer care to go and handle your issues. This is also a very common thing in financial services.
Yeah.
Sometimes they'll tell you your refund will be processed in a day or 2 days. It's 7 days down the line. They might end up refunding the money, but you're now panicking because you're thinking now my money has been stolen.
Yes.
That is also considered an unfair practice. And if you do not get to refund the money at all or deliver the iron sheets at all, it now becomes a criminal case. Yes. Or I would put it under obtaining money under false pretenses.
Yes.
But that's just me.
Okay. So I'll probably run you through 2 more unfair practices. So remember, you're not supposed to sell counterfeit products. And a lot of times, counterfeit products end up being unsafe products. So, which is a big problem that we have in the Kenyan market. That's even one of the issues I think the CEO, the managing director of East African Breweries, was saying that the government needs to deal with counterfeit alcohol products in the market. Yes, because it also diminishes the value of the products they're selling. Because I don't know, when I walk into a shop, I don't know if this bottle I'm buying, has it actually come from EABL or
Has it come from someone's house in Ruaka?
Yeah.
I don't take pull from Ruaka. I love pull from Ruaka.
Yes. And I remember I was going to the salon the other day, and my salonist told me not to come with my own relaxer. Then I asked him why. He told me because there are a lot of counterfeits in the market, so he prefers to buy directly from the company. Yes, because he was telling me sometimes customers come when they've bought their own relaxer, then it cuts their hair, and then now it
becomes a him problem.
Exactly. Yet it's not him. You've bought a counterfeit relaxer, yes, which has now cut your hair. And I was like, oh my God, this is a very big problem in Kenya. We have counterfeit diapers, counterfeit
sanitary towels.
Yes. I'm like, first of all, you people who are counterfeiting diapers
and sanitary towels,
baby, Mungu anawaona. Mungu anawaona. Not that the ones who are counterfeiting alcohol are the good ones, but
you don't make a parent deal with a rush because you're greedy for money.
Imagine, it's not nice. So we've really been talking about women's rights, empowering women, and then you come and start selling fake sanitary products. It's really unfair. Like, I think we need to ensure that the law enforcement agencies and the regulators actually look into this issue. Tag, Sakaja. Nairobi is the hub for counterfeit products.
It's where they are made.
Yeah.
And highly distributed.
please look into it, our dear governor.
Dear.
I'm the nice one in the podcast.
Next consumer protection issue.
The other issue is failure to honor warranties. Yes. So if you've bought, and most of the times it's normally electronics, I normally see with warranties. Yeah. So if you've sold a product with a warranty, please make sure that you explain to someone how they can be able to claim that warranty. So I normally see, like if you buy a Samsung phone, at the Samsung shop, they'll tell you, in case the phone has an issue during the period for the warranty, the service center is at this place, and you can go and have your phone checked out.
That's nice.
Yeah. I actually found that very interesting. Again, not advertising for anyone, just saying.
Samsung, please sponsor Ndano. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Anyway, yeah. So the last one is using of aggressive sales tactics. Yes.
Insurance agents.
My friends.
We are speaking to you directly. You're not cutting through corners, please. Kwanza, there's one of my insurance, like where I have my life policy. They keep aggressively calling me. I'm like, I've already given you my money. Why are you calling me every lunchtime?
So now you get an education policy.
I do not care to know how my policy is doing. I can see it online. Like,
No, so you need another one now.
even if I did, you think I wouldn't have the conscience to call Nyongesa myself?
No.
I'm just like, why? In fact, I think the next time I'll pick their call and just tell them, never call me again. Give that information to my agent. He'll give that information to me. Like, why are you calling me every lunchtime they're on their phone? Oh, this is insurance company X. Oh, calm yourself.
Yes, and also a lot of times telemarketers. I think one of the things that telemarketers need to remember is that you need to seek consent from people, because the first question is, how did you get my number? So if it's a company that I've never shared my information with, you just took my number from a random security book. I hear those are the tactics people are using now.
Ama kitabu ya M-Pesa.
Yeah. Please, can you stop doing that? Because that is a violation of the consumer protection rights. And then it's even another violation of the Data Protection Act. So I know you guys are itching to find out if your rights violated as a consumer, what are the forms of redress that are available to you. But before we get to that, let us talk about who are the enforcers of the consumer protection laws in Kenya. Mihala, you can start us out.
So the first one is the Consumer Federation of Kenya. And I'm starting with the Consumer Federation of Kenya, or it's also called COFEC, because it's, I can say, citizen-based or consumer-based a lot. I think it's non-governmental and it's multi-sectoral. It doesn't pick a sector. And what it does, it draws its mandate from Article 46 of the Constitution of Kenya 2010. And what it does is, if you have a consumer issue, you can actually reach out to them and they can lobby for you. Sometimes they join suits or cases in court, and they help in making sure that consumer rights are either observed or they're enforced.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. That's interesting to know. So if you have an issue that you'd like to take to court, or you'd like some assistance with, look at the Consumer Federation of Kenya.
I've been telling Dano it's like the core-2 of consumer protection.
Yes. So if you haven't watched our episode on trade unions,
please go and watch our episode on trade unions.
Yes, and you'll understand further.
Yeah.
Thank you. So the other, so we also have regulators in Kenya who look at consumer protection. One of the regulators is the Competition Authority of Kenya. So I know from their name, it looks like they just handle issues of competition between companies. But actually, one of their mandates is the implementation of the Consumer Protection Act.
It is.
And so they investigate complaints of unfair practices or violation of consumer protection issues, and they also enforce compliance across various sectors that we have in Kenya on consumer protection. So if you have an issue with any service provider or any place that you've bought a good or a service, then you can lodge the complaint with the Competition Authority of Kenya. They'll investigate the case, and then they'll be able to tell you whether it's viable, whether there's any action that can be taken against the company that has violated your rights. Yeah.
And I think as we talk about the Competition Authority of Kenya,
Yeah.
we should also maybe mention that one of the areas of redress that the Competition Act, that is the birth parent of the Competition Authority of Kenya, talks about the Competition Tribunal as well. So in case you have a dispute that you feel like needs to be arbitrated or handled by someone that is a legal entity, or like by a magistrate status person, I think you take it to the Competition Authority of Kenya at the Competition Tribunal, and they'll be able to handle that complaint and give you a binding decision. Yeah, so they can make orders, they can issue damages. I think that's the first place that you go.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. So I'll look at the other regulator that handles consumer protection issues. That is KEBS, the Kenya Bureau of Standards. So the main role of the Kenya Bureau of Standards is normally to monitor product quality standards. Yes. So they usually test products. So if you have a product that you'd like to put out in the market, you usually have to take it for testing, and then you have the KEBS stamp of approval. Yeah. Yes. Kenyans, again, please stop counterfeiting the KEBS stamp. Yeah.
People have stickers nowadays. Like they put the KEBS stickers.
And say, like, guys, hey, Kenyans, see, we're already complaining that the government is corrupt. So then we start ourselves, we change, we stop being corrupt, and then we can hold them accountable properly. Yes. Yeah. Then just for general knowledge, there are various regulators for various sectors who you can also raise specific complaints that are in relation to that sector. So for example, like in financial services, if it's an issue to do with a bank, you can raise a complaint with the Central Bank of Kenya. If it's an insurance company, you can raise a complaint with the Insurance Regulatory Authority. If it's an issue to do with the investment space, then you can raise a complaint with the Capital Markets Authority. Yeah. SACCOs, the SASRA as well. So in the financial services space, there are various regulators who can be able to help you. Again, if other sectors, there are also other sectors that are regulated. For example, the media space. They have the Communications Authority of Kenya. So they also can handle any issue that you have with media, with a telecommunications company. So if it's Safaricom, Airtel, any telecommunication service provider, then you'll take it to the Communications Authority of Kenya. But strangely enough, if you have an issue with M-Pesa or Airtel Money, you'll take it to CBK. Yes, because now that falls under financial services.
Makes sense.
So also you need to remember that. Yeah, so Mihala, I think now you can tell us about redress. And I think that's one of the areas that our listeners were itching to learn about.
To know about redress. So before I go to redress, I think the other agency that might fall in this category is the Anti-Counterfeit Agency.
Oh, yes. That's
so
true.
If it's an issue of counterfeiting or your goods are being sold and you are not the one who's selling those goods and you don't know how they got there, the Anti-Counterfeit Authority is also a good place to go.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go to solutions, or where we go and seek redress. If it's if it's goods or services that are below 1 million, you can go to the small claims court. The reason why we like the small claims court is it's fast, it's semi-formal, like it's formal but not very formal. And you get most of the times you'll get your judgments very quickly because most of the cases are adjudicated within 3 months. Some go more than 3 months, but for the most part, nothing will go past a year in the small claims court. So that is the first point of contact. If you have a consumer protection issue that you feel like, I really need this to be handled by court, like hapa nilishotchenjiwa, there's some money my money I can get back, I think you can go to the small claims court for the smaller amounts, and then you can go to the chief magistrate's court or the high court for higher amounts. A good example, I don't know if this is it a competition issue. No, it's a consumer protection issue. A good example is, I don't know if you know about this, but there's a guy that sued Safaricom for expiry of bonga points.
Yes.
And the judgment was delivered in December last year. And the judgment went in favor of the guy.
Yes.
Because the courts ended up saying, look, once you give me bonga points, they are my property. I have a proprietary interest in them, and I own them. And you can't take away that ownership.
Yes.
It's a violation of consumer rights. And goes a little to misrepresentation. And if you tell me I can redeem bonga points because I am your customer, I am entitled to legitimately expect that I'll own those bonga points almost in perpetuity.
Yes.
What was interesting is they said if you cease being a Safaricom customer, then you can forfeit the bonga points.
Okay.
Because it's only for quote unquote active customers. So that's one way of seeking redress. The second way of seeking redress is going to the Consumer Federation of Kenya. You go, you tell them about your issue, and they'll help in lobbying. Like this Safaricom case, they were enjoined. They joined the case as an interested party to listen in, to get learnings. So the Consumer Federation of Kenya is actually an active and a good way to seek redress for issues of consumer protection. The other way would be consumer advocacy groups.
Yeah.
I don't know of any, but I tend to group it together with social media activism. I think it's usually a very good way of getting your consumer rights addressed. Especially if I usually see one of my favorite platforms to look at consumer protection issues is X.
Yeah.
Because if you get people that chronologically get to list the consumer protection issues, more often than not, you'll get either the regulator or the owner of the service will come out and they'll get to address it. Actually, it's one of the fastest ways, as long as you very articulately put your story there. Don't go there to insult people. I see some of you going there to insult people. That's not handling a consumer federation issue.
Yes.
But that would be like the other way. They say consumer advocacy groups. I say in today's normal society, I think social media platforms are one way that you can get your consumer protection issues handled.
Actually, that's true, because I think a lot of organizations are very scared of the reputational damage that comes from complaints on social media. Yeah. Okay. I'm not saying don't go bullying brands, by the way.
Yeah, just
go give them your feedback. And most times they usually respond to it, except some that use bots that don't even understand the complaint.
Yeah. You keep being told this. There's one that I've been doing that. Did that to me a few times back.
I know, and it's quite annoying. Like, I saw someone who had posted a complaint about an airline on LinkedIn, and then they compared the services of that airline to the sister company that has better services. And then, so both airlines had been tagged on the post. Now, the one that had a good review was very quick to respond and say, kindly tag the correct company. And then everyone, even me at first, I was like, have you actually read
the post?
Yeah.
Have you read the post? Have you understood what I'm saying?
And actually, people in the comment sections were asking, is this company using AI or a chatbot to respond to social media posts, or what exactly is happening? Because clearly, if it's a human being who responded to that post, they did not read it.
Or they did not understand.
Or did not understand. Because they were the ones being praised.
Or they use the same person.
Oh, because they're sister companies.
Yes, maybe they use the same person on
but
social
they were
media.
saying direct the question to company X.
Oh, okay.
Direct the issue to the other company.
Okay.
Yeah. So clearly the
They-
person hadn't read that issue. I was like, anyway, social media is an interesting space also for brands that you need to check and ensure that you maintain a good relationship with your customers online as well. Yeah. Okay, so as we get to wrap up today's episode, there have been a lot of issues about online or e-commerce platforms. So people are saying, I bought a defective good from an online platform or an online store, and now I'm trying to get a refund or a replacement, and I'm not getting any help. Is there any redress for such people?
Maybe the question to ask is, are these stores with just an online presence without a physical presence?
A lot of them, yes.
Okay. So we're saying I bought a good on page X.
Yes.
And it's defective and I can't get a refund. Here? Watu wa social media. Mumeanza kuwa watu wa gani hao? Okay. You see, I think it's easier if they have a registered place of business.
Yes.
That way it would be easier for you to contact them. But either way, I'd say the issues of redress that I have handled might work for most of those. Because you see, even nowadays, even service for court is not that I have to come and physically find you. If I have your WhatsApp number, if I have your email, I could go as far as say it's unofficial, but if I know where to DM you, I can DM you and send you my demand letter and take you to court.
Yeah.
The other thing that now that is where now the social media marshals really come in. Because if the web space or social media is the way that you use to sell, then it's actually one of the fastest way to seek or get redress. I usually say, again, might not be the right one, but I usually say if you are able to access an influencer with 500,000 people, and maybe they went through the same complaint,
Yeah.
and they get to put that complaint online, it actually gives you visibility and might get the online store to act. I myself have been a quote-unquote victim of something that was not delivered by an online store. Actually, they were supposed to ship something for me. They shipped it in half. I sent them a demand letter. I DM'd them on Instagram. I tagged influencers, and I ended up getting my items shipped. So I think sometimes the challenge with social media is sometimes it depends with how many followers you have.
Yes.
Because the smaller creators don't have that. We smaller creators might not have that leverage.
Yes.
But the bigger creators probably might be able to leverage those relationships and those complaints and get them handled.
Yeah.
But what did you have in store?
Okay. I think one of the issues that we normally have with like the online stores, just as you've mentioned, is some of them don't have a physical store. So if they have a physical store, of course, you can go and demand. You can go there and even have a chat with the owner of the store or whoever is attending to the store. So I've seen what people have been doing is one, either to report the page. So if you're selling to me defective items and I've raised a complaint and you're not helping me,
Report the page. I like that idea.
Yeah. Because you see, that's their only store. Yes. So once the page is reported and maybe they are locked for 3 months, they've lost sales for a while. Even if they open another page,
It will be slow coming back up.
Exactly. Yes. The other thing is you can actually report these people to the police. Yes, you can go to DCI and or even your nearest police station and report. Ideally, our law enforcement should have a way to track those online stores using either the IP address or something.
Or the phone.
Yes,
phone
or the
number
phone number that they put up. Yes, so they can be able to assist you on that. I'm not sure. I've not had any personal testimony from anyone about the law enforcement route, but that's one way that you can go. The other way that you've heard from our resident advocate of the High Court, get a lawyer to write for you a demand letter.
Yeah, we're very good at that.
Yes. There's one of our friends who had an issue with one of the big retailers, and she has quite a big following. So another friend who used to work for that retailer went and told them, you guys, do you know how many followers this chick has?
Deal.
Like, so actually, by the way, social media influencers can be another way to help, because if they post a complaint about you, that means there are 10,000, 30,000 followers have seen it, and it can actually have an impact on your brand. Yes. So of course, the more formal route is either through the small claims court, as Mihala has mentioned, or going to the police station to write a statement, or sending a demand letter through your lawyer. Okay. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this episode as much as we enjoyed making it.
It's called our comeback episode.
Yes, we have had so much fun, and we missed you so much. If you have any questions on any topics that you'd like us to cover in the legal, regulatory, compliance space, please feel free to DM us or put it on the comment section. Please, by the way, guys, start commenting. Like,
They
say
comment.
something.
It's only Yvette who comments.
On YouTube.
Yes.
Oh,
Yvette.
thanks,
Yvette is always on the comment
yes,
section.
so please comment. Yeah, even if you're just saying thank you, interesting, informative. It is
Thumbs up.
Yeah.
Clap emoji. Heart emoji.
Exactly.
Smile emoji.
Comment.
Running emoji. Girl dance emoji. So many emojis. House emoji.
Yeah, it really encourages us. Like, I think there's someone who actually commented on one of our posts and asked, hi guys, you guys do very informative topics. Can you do X topic? And I was like, wow, thank you. Like, we hadn't thought of doing that topic. Thank you also for the ideas. It helps us to keep bringing in more content.
And giving you what you would like to listen to.
Yes. So we're going to wrap this up today. Please, if you have not subscribed to our YouTube channel, please do so. If you have not followed us on Spotify as well, please do so. On Apple Podcast as well, and also on our social media pages at The Rundown KE. Yes, my personal pages are at Ndanunzyuko on all the platforms.
I am at Mihala Barasa on all the platforms.
And until next time,
Bye.